What is up, guys? Alex from F4F Figures.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Chuckles.
How you guys doing? Thanks very much for joining us. We're very excited to introduce the making of the Majora's Mask life-size prop replica. Obviously, the elephant in the room. Bada bing, bada boom. What is up?
Awesome. It's massive.
It's massive. It's huge. It is really sort of a new venture for us, basically, to go into these prop replicas. It's a first of F4F Figures. And it's really nice to be able to kick it off with something from Zelda. And what better than to do it with Majora's Mask, which actually, if you look at the original line of characters we ever produced from the Zelda line, it started off with Fierce Deity Link,
right,
and the second one was Skull Kid. And both of those are from the Majora's Mask, and it's really nice to be able to almost like revisit the Majora's Mask.
Going back to the roots.
Going back to the roots. Starting with the Majora's Mask, originally back in 2006, or whenever it was.
Wow. Here
we are, 11 years later, starting it all again.
He's grown up.
Right.
It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working on this for a while. Just the whole idea of going into props, going into life-size replicas of things, and it's really exciting to finally be able to show you guys. So yeah, I mean, this is something that we've looking forward to sort of more discussing about the making of. Chops, you got some questions for us?
Yes. So first of all, where these questions come from? So
yeah, sure.
Basically, if you guys are just watching this video for the first time, we do have an official F4F Figures official collectors club on the Facebook page, and then I think it was like yesterday or the day before, I posted a question on the page where we usually just before we make a documentary, we'll post a question and say, hey guys, if you've got any questions, hit us up. And then then throughout that post, I'll post a random comment, and the first 10 people that actually reply to that comment will get shout outs from Alex himself. So just take a note of this. In the future, if you see any more documentary posts, just ask the questions away. So here we are now.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, let's jump straight in.
Sweet.
Okay, first question from Jose Luis Milan. How complicated it was to choose the right colors, and how hard was the paint job?
Okay, that's quite interesting. This was it was done in 2 shots. The first time, it was there were certain areas that weren't quite the right color. For example, here the oranges, originally it was painted, because there's actually quite a few variants of the actual coloring, but a few people, this was slightly more yellow, and actually this orange and this orange are very slightly different. We paid attention to that.
Yeah.
There is a kind of spray effect here, which is this sort of green, which originally was done solidly and was painted completely black, which is not correct. So we added this sort of subtleness of the green.
This green here.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It sort of subtly blends into that. The colors of the horns weren't quite right as well, but we managed to change that. But one of the sort of subtle changes and differences between there is you look at the mask, but it's not all flat. There are some areas that are flat, some areas that have a gloss coat, and some that have a PU coat. Now what does that mean is basically when it's matte, it's very non-reflective, and that's where you see the purples and the reds going around here, and this whole section at the front. Basically, the majority of it is all purple. It's all matte. It's all flat. Yeah. So the base color of the purple, etc., and the red. It's very flat color. Now, if it all looked like that, it would be not quite right.
Very 2D. It doesn't give off a special effect.
Exactly right.
When you can see right now when the lights are bouncing off, you can tell which parts are shiny.
Right.
I hope you guys can see actually.
Yeah. So what we got here is we've got these black kind of ridges, and going around the eyes here, and going around here, the sort of frame here, and even along here, and going along here and here and here. For example, all those areas that are black, they are covered in a gloss finish. So right now you have a difference of the matte finish and the gloss finish. You can actually sort of see it. You can see there's no reflection of light. You can see the sort of reflection along here of the light. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see that it's actually popping out. So this is like when you say flat, we just meant by the color, not the actual shape of the mask.
Yeah, right.
Put your fingers over it.
You can ridge it.
There's ridges as well. So
It's this sort of popping effect,
Yeah,
right?
even more extra depth.
So you have the base color of the matte, so no reflection whatsoever. Then you have the middle layer, which is this sort of gloss finish over here. Then you have this PU color, which is this thing here, which takes a lot longer to finish and cure. You can like paint this with a gloss finish pretty quickly, and it will set within 30-40 seconds. Then you can touch it. This one here, you need minutes. You touch it when you're setting it and you leave it there. If you touch, you'll leave a fingerprint. So this actually takes quite a long time to once you've sprayed onto it, and you hope that no dust goes on or whatever, because it's quite sticky.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it has that higher level of gloss. So you know, if you sort of see it, you can see. Look at these the reflection from the office lights. You can really see them all over these. Over these eyes, you can really see them, but you can't really see it too much. I mean, yes, obviously you can see it to a certain extent, but it's not as shiny as the eyes and that PU eyes. And the reality and the reasoning for that is you must bring attention to the eyes. They're such a important part of the prop itself that. You have the intensity of these reflections coming off the eyes. It really brings your own eyes to draws attention.
That brings up a good point, because we're doing these props. There's things that you can do on a bigger scale where you can't do on a smaller scale.
Absolutely.
Especially with the eyes, when there's so much smaller on a smaller scale.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, and that's the sort of the details that you can see. This kind of graduation effect in the actual eyes itself here, the actual pupils. Which is just nice to be. It's quite refreshing actually. So actually, the paint job was actually, once we got the colours right, it's actually very straightforward, because you know it's easier to maintain the integrity of the lining to make sure it doesn't sort of go over and you have overspray and it's not straight. Well, it's actually a little bit easier at this. And going to the base, we have the sort of obviously it's a sort of tree trunk thing that's sort of growing out of this other tree trunk, right? So it's very much the sort of wooden effect that is quite synonymous with Skull Kid itself. And within there you have the sort of moss effects within the thing. You can sort of see it going all around as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you can sort of see that, and that was pretty straightforward to have those sort of earthen tones with that.
Really well.
Hey, why don't now that sort of people have a better idea of how the different gloss effects is, why don't we actually see it by spinning it? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep spinning whilst we start.
Okay,
to
that's
answer
it.
these questions.
Yeah. There you go, guys.
Spinning this way, fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. And guys, keep an eye on how the light sort of catches it. And has that sort of subtlety to it. So you can sort of start seeing the different layers, the 3 different levels of gloss, matte and PU, so you can sort of see those different levels of reflectiveness.
Yeah, it's a great shot from the side as well, where you can see it's actually popping out.
Oh yeah, you can
the
see it,
eyes
absolutely.
are popping out, the eyelids are popping out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we at the back.
Yeah. And then at the back you can see it's the matte purple effect going along the back, and it's got this, and you can now see more details of the base itself. You can sort of see how the tree trunk comes out, and it's got the wooden and the earthen tones in there, looking sort of just like a real tree coming out there.
Sweet.
Cool.
Let's
All right.
just keep this spinning around then.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Thanks, Jose. So, next question from me, Miranda Sykes.
Shout out to Miranda, she's one of our admins in the official group.
Alright. How easy or hard was it to pick Majora's Mask as the first item in the props line?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I have a special feeling for Majora's Mask. I love the game.
You've always wanted to do Skull Kid, and this is kind of like...
I'm home.
Yeah.
Daddy's home.
That's right. But there you go. It was easy it's an easy question, an easy answer to that one as well.
Yeah, but also with it being not just Majora's Mask from the Zelda prop line, but also all prop lines. And it was, hey, which ones do we do? And of course there was thinking some other licenses as well, but hey, what would be more fitting than to sort of start it off with Zelda?
Let us know, guys. Let us know in the comments in the Collectors Club as well. I mean, look, this is just the first one for the Zelda props line, so if this does really well and you guys are really loving this idea, let us know, something from Bandai Namco or Sega, Capcom,
Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be masked. Right? Just
Sure.
let you guys know.
Sure.
Okay. Next question from Austin Paul. Will this be the first of a new Zelda line or a prop replica line?
Well, there you go.
That's
We
just-
kind of just
just
answered
answered
that. Yeah. So basically, absolutely, the answer is we've already penciled and already started working on the next. But let's just focus on this.
That's enough teasing.
But absolutely, this is something that's going to be a continuous line, and it's why it's really important that when this actually goes to pre-order, that people order it as soon as they can, because from that you get an actual number, because these are all limited edition,
Sure.
and it comes with a number on the bottom of the base.
A whole new line.
A whole new line, and when you have a bottom of the base, in case you don't know, what we offer is, say you, on the bottom of the base it says you have number 500 as an example. You have the right to order the next in the line and get the same number 500 in the following product in that product range. And it would be nice to, let's say we're 10 pieces down this line, in the Zelda line should I say,
Yeah.
and every single one of them is 500, is number 500. It's quite, I mean obviously people have different feelings
It's
on.
hard to imagine it now, but when you think back, once you go for a few statues down the line, or a few busts down the line, props down the line.
Sure.
When you think back onto it now, it's like, oh wow, I was there on day one, got the low number, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously this is the first in our prop line, but people have already been collecting our Zelda lines of those figures for many, many years, and you have people who have collections of all exactly the same number. So this numbering thing is not specific to the prop, but it's all throughout any of our products within the range. So absolutely, it's something that it's important, therefore, to try and get your low number, which is given on a first come first served basis, and that low number would, if you manage to snag one, will be able to be kept throughout the whole series.
Cool. All right then. Next question from Alex Hughes. How long did it take to go from idea to 3D render and being approved by the big N?
This was pretty straightforward. I would say I spent maybe a month on the 3D, maybe slightly longer, and that was quite, how to say, yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, there's quite a lot of references for what the mask looks like.
You've done this
and
like many times.
we've
before,
done the
and-
Skull Kid already.
Yeah, the original.
The original Skull
type
Kid,
shit.
so it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and sorry.
Yeah.
Then going, it was
Being
going
approved,
from 3D render to being approved. Well, if you're talking just within the 3D stage, of course, it's was pretty
Relatively quick, quite quick, right?
At least us getting it to the big N.
Right.
However long the big N takes to approve things is something that's something I'm not really going to discuss. But they discussed it. They've obviously approved it. Here we're now at the physical stage, and that's where we're at. Yeah.
Okay. Next question from Alessio Bucci. What made you decide to have removable horns? How many have we got? 1, 2,
How do people know that they're
4, 5,
removable
6,
horns?
7, 8, 9, 10 horns.
Well, why don't we actually demonstrate that, Jocks? Why don't we stop this? And actually, because people who've never seen it don't realise.
That's right.
But we did a bit of a preview on this on a live stream to show guys what it would look like, and this is how it looked. So I'll start taking from you. Start taking that 1, 2, 3 for that. There you go. That's one.
There you go, guys.
That's one.
These are
Bring
all
that down.
Magnetized.
Yeah. Take that off there. I find it easy if you push it forward. So,
Really?
yeah. 1, 2,
I find
3.
it the other way around. Pull it back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, forward.
You sure?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. There you go.
Alright then.
Yeah. How did you find that? Yeah.
It's easy.
And this
straightforward.
one, just forward for that.
Put
I'll put
it
that on the
back.
top. I put that on the top so we know.
Yeah.
So this is how he looks a bit naked. He looks a bit naked. He's like, what?
It's a
What?
heart shape, it's a heart shape, yeah.
So yeah, that is a demonstration of removing the horns. Let's put them back on, and then we'll talk a bit about the reason why we did them. Just
What is that?
you don't even need to look. It just sort of slots right back in. And this one, look at that. You can see there's a ridge there as well. And I think when you
Yeah. There's like a lip. On the
there's a lip. Oh, in fact, why don't we just put this on like this?
Yeah. From
Hold on.
backwards, yeah.
And I'm gonna have to have your
There you go.
ones. You're gonna have to give me your ones. Yeah. Thanks. There you go.
Take that as well.
I'm now confused which one is which one. No, it says that there's a number on there. So this one says R2, so my one is going at the top. You're going, where are you putting yours? Oh, you started at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can see the original was all plain. So if you look over here, you can see that the purple was originally there. And when you put it back on, this actually has a ridge that goes over it, which is subtle detail that you get when you review the 3D file. That actually there's a sort of lip and the sort of
From
part
the
of the
3D file.
horn
Alright.
can be seen over it, which is why, I mean, it would be much easier if I just simply had it completely flush and
Yeah.
you don't need to worry about that, but it's been engineered in a way to be true to the 3D file. So this is, so put this back on, this is R2, nicely going there, and again you can see this lip appearing then, you can see that from Chocks, and it seems like I am slower than you.
You can
There
see
you go.
It's easy.
There you can see.
It comes up on the screen quite clear.
It's quite clear.
The contrasting purple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Flip that switch. So why is the answer? The question, there's two reasons. The first way is, there's two reasons to have them separate. The first one is because when you actually go to mass produce paint these, the way it would work is to basically have to completely spray paint the base color, which of course in this case will be purple.
Mm-hmm.
So spray painting it completely purple, you want to do that without having to worry about the horns. If you remove the horn, if you had the horns there as well, it becomes much harder to do that, to spray paint it all in one time and be consistent. So having these horns separate allows for us to have those things that we talked about at the back, to have it really clean and sharp.
Yep.
And also, another thing, shipping wise, it will be very easy for this. It will be a structurally very weak point. Should we have this assembled in the shipping, it'd be very susceptible to breakages. And shout out to FedEx and DHL and UPS and all that stuff, but stop chucking our stuff on the ground. So in order to avoid that, it was basically to avoid damages in shipment, because there's nothing more disappointing for someone to crack open a collectible that they've been really looking forward to and for that to be broken because as a result of shipping. So that's something we really wanted to avoid. So basically the one more final thing is removing it from the mold, because we use silicone molds. Removing it actually from the molds with the horns on it would have been difficult to do that as well. So that wasn't a consideration to actually have it molded and everything in one piece. And that's why it was very important to get the engineering of the magnets just right. Because you can see these are coming down at a 40, we have 45 degrees here, and these are clearly having to defy gravity. It's important that we're using solid magnets in order to maintain these not falling down. And we're talking, hit the table, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we don't
earthquake,
we want
that sort of stuff.
Attacking someone's pet.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's right.
Exactly right. So we had to make sure all of that was a consideration when removing the actual horns.
Cool. Alright, next question from Amir Khan. How long were you secretly working on this? Were there any sneak peeks?
We didn't actually give any sneak peeks, I don't believe.
No, I have no sneak peeks for this one, which is amazing.
Well, we don't actually do too many sneak peeks for Zelda or our Nintendo
That's
stuff,
true,
although
yes.
we've sort of started changing a bit of that, because
Yeah.
we sneak peek Meta Ridley, Bowser,
But again,
True for Midna, and this
we
obviously.
need approvals beforehand.
course.
That's why sometimes you get sneak peeks for certain lines, and you get less sneak peeks for other lines as well.
It's a licensing thing, and I had to request that as well.
That's right.
And also, we have to take each one by itself. But the answer is no, we didn't sneak peek this. But when did we start working on this? I think it was before you even arrived. Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
Had
I think it was before me. Because when
I certainly started working on it beforehand. And you joined in
I joined, in May time.
end of May.
Yeah. I think when I first saw it, it was kind of 70-80% done.
Okay, I hadn't finished. I hadn't got approval with Nintendo at this
That's
stage.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that we're sitting there. We're sitting on secrets, 8 months, 9 months,
Yeah, I
and
remember
we're bursting.
I remember Stu this that needs a little bit more tweaking. This doesn't.
Yeah,
look
sure.
Some of those.
So absolutely bursting to tell you guys about this sort of stuff, but we're having to be absolutely quiet about it for months and months and months, and there's still so much more stuff.
Well, it's kind of if this was 8 months ago, imagine what we have now. and what we'll be showing 8 months down the road, right?
Well, there's all of that.
It's kind of like that domino effect.
That, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But also, likewise, we're going to maybe try and start to show things a little bit earlier in order people can start preparing.
This is why this is happening now, because, well, obviously this is pre-recorded. The guys that are watching now, but
sure.
Obviously, normally we would have shown this on a launch day, but now.
Oh no, but I mean, what I mean by that is giving sneak peeks and then people know months ahead of time.
Definitely.
Just simply because it's important that as certainly for the more bigger size pieces, that they have a chance to consider this product in its collection, maybe a few months earlier. But the reality is we've been working on it for months and months and months, 8 months, 9 months. And likewise, since we've gone through that phase, we've been working on other projects. So F4F still has the magic. We ain't going nowhere. So lots of magical things we're working on.
Sometimes we don't want to show it too early, because if we don't have enough content,
there's obviously that's problem as well. If you show it too early, there's also the problem of people getting excited and then the excitement going down.
It's a bit like game development. If you show a game, early, and then the game's going to be delayed until like 5 or 6 or 7 years, it kind of like, oh, when's this coming out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just finding that right balance as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was, it's always a sort of it's a bit of a mix and match on exactly when we do it. Hope you guys can appreciate that. When you guys are saying, hey, show us this and show us that, we're like, we really want to. We really want to. We just have to work on just figuring out exactly what and when.
Cool. All right then. Cody Martin, is there an idea in place? Has it been that of to do props from major items, symbols from the games?
Absolutely. So, Cody, absolutely, Cody. There is such a wealth of different things that is possible for the Zelda line. I mean, obviously you have no-brainers like the Hylian shield and the the Master Sword.
Cody gave us some example like Ocarina of Time prop, Wind Waker prop, the Triforce, the Master Sword. Goes on and on. Like
there's so many.
30 years of
Where to start?
That's right.
Well, we start here, obviously.
Yeah.
We start anyway. Absolutely. But the answer is yes. We're absolutely super excited to be working on additional things in the line already underway, and the possibilities are really, literally endless. Because by the time that this comes out, and we have all those things that we can be working from the 30 years, Breath of the Wild comes out, and they're like, whoa, what do we do from that? And then there's, there's more.
You guys want a bow and arrow or something like that?
Oh, possibly. Who knows? That could be interesting.
Cool. Next question from Randy Gerards. How do you know these are the correct proportions for life size? It seems to be a bit bigger.
So for me, the size of this, it was important to basically if I just put this over here, maybe just have a bit of a stop.
Okay.
Yeah. This to this, for me, must cover the face.
Whose face?
So a general person's face. So if I was to, hi guys, but in order for me to consider this to be life size, this is the point here. From here to the point that I talked about just at the front, right? I want that if people, not that they're going to be able to wear it, not that they're going to, but their head should fit between here and there. And I did not want to see this, which is, if I get, again, this is not wearable, but the principle being, for me, life size is this. I didn't want, if I just have a look, can you sort of see my, I'm trying to not, can you see my head between that, right? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I didn't want that. I wanted, so when you put your face next to it, you can't, unless someone's got a huge afro, and then that's nothing I can do about that.
So this would be like the life size
for
a human head. Right?
I consider it to be life size. And who was it? Randy thinks it's a little bit big. If you consider the area that I'm putting it, you might even consider it to be small. In some people may have a high. It's sort of this height to fit in between here and here. That's the point. In fact, measure my head. Let's see. So what am I about?
You're about 9.5.
9.5, yeah?
9.5, yeah, thereabouts.
9.5.
Yeah.
So remember, it's not between here and here. So it's not between this part, it's between that part, exactly right. And then this is curved, so if you sort of, in fact, it's maybe you might even say it's slightly small, because that's...
Well, it's near above the glass.
Exactly right. So, that is, that's the idea of how the sizes came. And obviously it's a lovely size. It's got presence because it's supposed to be a centerpiece. A lot of these big props, it's really the first thing you walk into a room. What are you going to notice? You're going to notice the original skull kit? Oh, hello! Are you going to notice this?
This one for
there you go. At least the first thing that catches your eye.
Sweet. Okay, next one. Oh, another Randy Gerard. It's the same.
No, it's Trish
one?
now.
It's Trish now.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Can you wear it?
No.
Trish Bradley.
Next.
No.
Well, look, if you got some serious neck muscles and some lats going on, post it in the club if you can actually figure out how to wear it. And as long as you can walk and you can't actually see through it, good luck to it. I'd love to see if you can do it, but the answer is...
One thing I just want to say, sure, you can wear it, but we're not liable for any neck damages or breakages.
There is no, sure, if you can figure out... No, the answer is no, you can't wear it.
We recommend not to wear it.
What I will say to you is that these won't fall off. So if you do end up wearing it and you shake your head, these will not fall off. But as I said, this is not wearable.
We don't want you to be in the hospital or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, alright. Thank you, Trish. Next question from Jeremy.
Oh, should we give it a bit of a spin again, yeah?
Jeremy Beerson?
What is up? What is up, Jeremy? Jeremy is one of our other addies.
Yep. His question is: did you consider doing a wood style paint at any point?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I've actually seen quite a few people asking about the different effects. Now, this one was quite a bit of a personal choice for me. I have seen quite a few other versions of the mask, and they have all these carvings down it, and that's something I could very easily have done. Could have gone that way. However, what I wanted to do was to have it much more accurate to the way that the Majora's Mask looks in the Majora's Mask logo. When I say the Majora's Mask logo, what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at the actual logo of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, you'll actually see that on the left hand side is actually the Majora's Mask with The Legend of Zelda. So in fact, if you actually looked at it like this, it looks like this, right? And then to the left of it says The Legend of Zelda over here, and it looks, boom, this style absolutely 100% accurately represents the way it looks in that logo. Whereas a wooden style is not how it looks for that. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is the wooden style would be something that's not actually in the game either. It's not in the game. The way that when it's now, of course, that's technical limitations from the fact that it was on the N64 followed by the 3DS. Of course, these are limitations that may have not had it, or may not. But the answer is, it does not have wood texture in the game. So I considered that. But I wanted to also give a bit of a shout out to that wooden feeling, and that is why it was incorporated into the base. So this whole wooden effect that you've got going into the base really complements the fact that some people may consider that they should have a wooden effect on the mask, but actually I've taken those all into considerations and I've decided to go for this style here for all the reasons I just gave. But also we have this wooden effect going along over the base. It really quite offsets it. So you have this wooden effect and you have the, so obviously you can see from the back here, this wooden texture. And you can really see it here, the way this wooden texture is quite contrasting to the actual mask itself. So the mask itself is this sort of classical kind of sort of how to say non-wooden, right? But if you had it all wooden,
true to the in-game model, right?
True to all game model. But the way it is, it basically has a nice contrast to the base. Otherwise, if it's all wooden, it's kind of like it doesn't have that contrast, and it doesn't have that pop. So for all those reasons, this is why we went with the way that it is now. Hopefully, people agree with that. Ultimately, others may think that they would have liked to have the wooden stuff, but ultimately we went for this style here.
Apples and oranges scenario.
Right.
Yeah, cool. All right then, Brianna Sanderson. I'd like to know if it can be hung. I want to bring it to work and hang it in my office because my walls are plain and too much on my desk.
What I would say about that is currently it is not wall mountable. However, what are we known for? We're known for listening to what people want.
That's right.
So it's not currently wall mountable. We need to really consider.
Quite a few things to consider. First
Right.
of all is the weight.
The weight.
True, because and then secondly, your walls are strong enough.
There's, I feel a little bit concerned about.
I'm concerned with that
dropping down, all that sort of stuff. So
because
before we can commit to saying yes, we can do it, we will absolutely look into it, and we're a big fan of giving people what they want. So we've got to do it in a way.
Yeah. Because we also spend a lot of time on the stand itself to try and hold the mask. Because sure, we've got these 2 pegs on the back. You can see here holding.
But it also has a third point, which is at the front.
At the front, which kind of you can see from thereabouts there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's actually resting on the side of the trunk.
That's
as well.
right.
So it's all about over time, gravity, things tilting and whatever. A lot of things to consider when if we're going to do a
absolutely,
wall mount option.
absolutely. So it is certainly something that we must look into more carefully. And of course, a lot of people were requesting the wall mount because they hadn't realised they came with a base, but now obviously they can see
now
it.
that with the base, maybe.
Sure, but also
makes
understand
sense.
that Brianna has an issue because her table
her
is too
walls
full.
are plain.
Her walls are plain and her table is too full. But look, we will look into that. We won't guarantee it at this stage, but we will always look into that if there's.
If it does
something.
work and we're going to go with it, we'll have one on this wall, yeah?
What about our 4K TV? John?
We'll have it somewhere. We'll have it in some wall.
It would be lovely though, wouldn't it?
That'd be cool.
It would be nice.
A props wall or something.
That would imply more than one mask.
Well, it
What? No, actually, no. You could
something-
we can mount a master sword on that. You can mount a shield on that.
Yeah. Sweet. All right then. Okay, next question from David. David Kurt, yeah? Oh man, what's all these admin questions?
What's up, Addies?
I noticed that the Majora
Shout out to
Mask-
David. He's an Addy as well.
Yep. I noticed the Majora's Mask 3D logo on the announcement, which is a new license for you guys. With that in mind, should we expect more Majora's Mask items to be in development anytime soon?
There is no Majora's Mask and Majora's Mask 3D. There is no distinction.
Mm-hmm.
It is, we work with Nintendo and we propose certain things. It's not like, hey, Nintendo, we would like to get the Majora's Mask 3D line. It doesn't. It's just the. I can remember developing Darunia from Ocarina of Time, and all the previous ones. Let's say we did Link from Ocarina, we did Shake from Ocarina of Time, right? All of those came with the original Ocarina of Time logo. Then when it was time for us to do the packaging for Darunia, because Ocarina of Time 3D, when the 3DS was being launched or had come out and they had made the logo, we had actually changed the logo from Ocarina of Time to Ocarina of Time 3D. To the updated one. So it's not like, hey, Nintendo, do we need to pitch for a 3DS, for the Majora's Mask 3D. It doesn't work like that. It just simply was, this is the new logo, so we went with that one. So it's nothing. You read too much into that.
There's no like separation or distinction. It's just, hey, if Nintendo's okay with it, we're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, another question from Randy Gerrard. There we go.
Yo.
All right, second question. How long has it taken you to be able to produce this?
Okay, well, as we sort of briefly touched on at the beginning, I was working on this before you arrived, probably at least a month before you arrived. So that would have been April till now, to be able to show you at this stage. But of course, a lot of things are at different stages, but I would typically say between 4 months to 4 to 8 months is typically where most things take for development at the prototype stage.
Because the way we do things is that we wanted to make sure we have a camera sample here first before we do any launches.
Right, and to be clear, this is a factory counter sample.
Yes. And the reason why we do that is because we want to show you that this is achievable from the factory's point of view, and also that if we have a counter sample ready for launch, when we start finishing off the pre-orders up until the production and actual releasing of the product, the times will be much shorter.
Right, and typically the industry is quite normal for it to be about 12 months and over.
That's right.
But we aim to try and reduce that to something more like under 12 months. So typically, if we can do it around about 8 months, 8 to 12 months, and we can tell you now this bad thing or whatever, this mask is supposed to be around about Q3, early Q3, late Q2, maybe, and that is quite.
That's very fast.
That's fast, but it's also achievable because this is what we wanted to do. So it allows people to still be hyped for it, and hey, 6 months goes really quickly.
We don't want to say, hey, go guys, here's a render. We take your pre-orders and then say, oh, sorry, we can't do this, or there's going to be a major hiccup.
Yeah,
delays.
Not to say anything, but I've seen some of our, how should I say, people in the industry to put stuff up for pre-order based on a 3D render, unpainted prototypes. We go beyond that. Not only do we go past prototypes, we actually go to countersample. Or at least not every time, but most of the time. That's what we certainly aim for.
From a collector's point of view, I mean, it's nice to look at the photos and the videos and all that stuff, but it's nice to see a physical item in hand. And obviously, I know you guys can't see it because this is a video recording, but to see this in hand, it gives you more confidence of, oh, this is how the end product's going to look like.
Right, to see the pre-order is based off of a factory sample makes it much more accurate for what they're going to receive. And it's very much, I'm a big believer of what you see is what you get. It's very important that collectors feel that there's a sense of, when they buy a First Figures product, they understand that pretty much they can have a good understanding of what it's going to be like.
Plus, we don't want to deviate from the actual product and the actual photos that you see on the website, because we have a couple of occasions where, some photos and the actual final product is different, which is normal because there's going to be subtle changes or
only going forwards.
Only going forwards, that's what I'm saying.
So what I mean by only better, we never want to go back.
Yeah, like adding extra touches or an extra request from a licensor. These are going for improvements rather than taking a step back.
Absolutely. When we did King of Red Lions, I remember we had done some.
Specifically, there was like 5 or 6 changes, and obviously, I know you guys.
And made them for the better.
Yeah, I know we can try and update the photos, but obviously that would take a lot of time and resources.
Sure.
We always post new updates of changes that we do on the main page as well as in the Collectors Club as well.
And another example was Amaterasu from Okami. I can remember the pictures having no ink to the end of the tail, we took feedback from the community.
I remember posting that as well.
You also, that was before you joined the company, and you were like,
something's missing.
There should be a bit of ink, so we added a sort of ink effect, but the actual pictures don't show that, but the actual in hand. So it only goes one way. If there's going to be any changes, it only gets improved.
That's right.
Or at least that's what we try to do.
Even the recent one, the Simon Belmont, the Castlevania, on the box, you have the actual chain. The
chain is just hanging down straight, so we improved on that to actually have it having movement in it, because people were complaining about it, and that's what we try to do.
Awesome.
Big believer of, if it costs us 5 but it gives people 20, more than willing to do it. We'll take the cost, we'll take the hit, as long as it has a really significantly positive impact in a positive way for the collectors. At the end of the day, the collectors are why we're here, so we do what we can to make sure you guys are covered.
Cool. Alright, next one. Oh, last question. Last but not least.
No?
No?
Oh.
Oh, another Jeremy question.
Jeremy, what is up?
Sorry, Jeremy. It's been a long time since you've sculpted the original Skull Kid. What are some details on this new mask that you weren't able to pull off on the old skull? Good question. Why not just
boom?
Put this in the middle.
Number 1, what is up, guys? Number 1. Alright, here we go. So, here is the original Skull Kid. Produced in 2006. Here we are, 11 years later.
Yes.
And Daddy's home. Big Daddy's home. And in terms of, we were talking a bit about when you come into the room, what do you see first? Your attention is going to go to Majora's Mask life-size prop. Then you'll see, hopefully people also have the Majora's Mask in there as well. The Skull Kid as well. And moving on from that, we also have here mini Skull Kid, which came with the collector's edition of the
3DS version.
3DS version. That's absolutely right. And we have a prototype version here of mini 3DS version of Skull Kid here, which was actually made in the same colours of this one, but actually that we revised it to this one to make it a bit more pop. But this is incredibly. These are like sort of early counter samples that we made with the factories, which never made it into production.
Yeah. And we gave one away as well.
We most certainly did.
One of our early
King of Red Lions live stream. Maybe we may give another one away some other time. Right?
Some other time.
Yeah. So if you look at this version here, and again, one of the things, if you look at the side of Skull Kid, if you own a Skull Kid and you look at the side, you actually see that the face of Skull Kid, I don't know if you can really see it. Again, this is one of the things that when people, I think who was it? Who said it was? It was who was it? Who was saying? Someone basically said it was too big. Randy, with the correct portions.
Right.
I took the idea from here that the Skull Kid face doesn't go past this top of the heart, which is what we talked about, and likewise a human head shouldn't go past this point here. I don't want to see like a little head going here. Likewise, you can't see it if you look at the mask here. It's not like that here. I'm sure you guys can't see it, but if you guys have a Skull Kid, you can see it like that. Well, of course, there are a ton more things that we've added to this, the subtleties of the different colours. Whereas if you look at the original ones, it's quite flat. It's quite flat. You know, that whole idea of the 3 layers of different brightnesses has been improved with this one, so we've managed to do that because of the size. We added this sort of spray effect that we couldn't add before with this version. Let me see if this one came out as well. And also the subtlety of the difference of colours of the actual horns. There is a ton more shading and depth in this mask than it is from the original ones. But don't get me wrong, I love these original ones, and it was a long time ago. And it really sort of highlights the changes that we've done for that and how we've improved from that as well. Yeah. So, as we were sort of saying before, this is really, if you had a Skull Kid collection or a Majora's Mask collection, these look fantastic altogether. If you're fortunate enough to have a Skull Kid and to have, we'll say with one of these ones, but yeah, I mean, let's give it a bit of a turn like that to see how they look together. I mean,
one more to the collection.
Daddy's home. Now we ain't playing, here's the real one. Cool, and the last one?
And the last but not least,
yeah.
From Pokemon trainer Chris. Do they give you guys models from the games to work off of?
So we actually started making our own sculpt, and when we submitted it to Nintendo, they said, hey, use this as reference. So we actually got those and compared it, and from there we modified our version in order to make it much more accurate. There was a difference, as we'd actually made the mask a bit flatter, and it made it a bit more rounded, was one of the major differences.
So they're okay with the size and everything if it's based on the 3D model?
The size is not relevant, because the size can be as big or small as we make it.
Right.
But the proportions are bang on.
Yeah.
And as I said, this sort of roundness that we've got going on over here, the original design that we did, because it's very hard when you're looking at references to see the curveness of something when majority of the time it's very flat. From the front it looked bang on, but this bit here, this sort of roundness, this curveness, didn't. Yeah, you can't judge it really like that. So we needed some official input from there, and thanks to Nintendo, that's what we got, and made this the most accurate mask we've made, and hopefully you guys
officially endorsed then.
Officially endorsed, licensed products. That's how we roll.
Awesome.
Cool.
Right.
Shout outs.
Oh.
Should I have a go this time?
No, Max. It's tradition. It's always been you.
It's true.
You haven't done one for a long time.
It's what's right. Zachary Guida. What is up? Shout out. Gerardo Oliveris. Thanks so much for the question. Big up. Shout out. Kevin Williams. What is up, guys? Trish Bradford, what is up? Randy, these are the guys who actually answered questions as well. They're getting double shouts, but if they were because it was the first 10 people that answered. That's the first 10 people. The rest snooze and lose. That's how it rolls.
But some of these, majority of these are new guys.
Yeah. Randy Gerards, what is up? Thanks for joining. Brendan Conran, what is going on? I know this name from many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, there's a memorabilia museum where a lot of people collect a load of Zelda stuff and Mario stuff, and there's a guy who's got a collection with billions of different sort of things in there, and I recognize the name, Brendan Conran. He's in the club, I know who he is now, of course, but shout out, I knew this guy or whatever for, this is going back when I was doing my research for the Skull Kid, for the Ocarina of Time, for the Fierce 18, we're talking back in the mid-2000s.
Should be even more crazier.
Hopefully you picked up some F4Fs along the way. I know you have, so mad love, thanks very much. Michael Bonner, what is up? Stephen Keller, bada bing bada boom. I'm not going to mess this one up. What is up? Kyle Holwinski. You want to have a go? Let us know in the comments whether or not I said that right. And end it with a nice one. What is up? Hello, Heather Partridge. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Boom.
All done.
And here we are.
Boom.
47 minutes into this. It's not quite 47 minutes because we started a little bit earlier, but we're significantly into this and we haven't talked about...
Specs.
Forget about the specs, mate. We haven't even talked about the exclusive. What is up?
Are we going to talk about that now?
Absolutely. We have to show about the exclusive,
yeah,
and then we have to we do the measurements. That's what we always do. So let's clear this up here. And clear this up over here.
Exclusives, go on.
If anybody was paying attention as this bad boy was spinning around, they may have noticed a little something. What is this over here? Do you see that over there? And what could that possibly be? Well, you don't get too many prizes for guessing, but absolutely, we talked about the PU covering the eyes. The eyes are the most important things about it. Imagine a really, really dark room, and what you see are these lights that come in on the eyes. And without further ado, boom! There you go. What do you think of that, Chocks?
Nice, but we're not in a dark room, but...
True. But what I'm trying to say is, why don't we use the power of video over video, and right now let's try and bring in the effect and give it a spinny effect of how it looks in the with it. Well, it will be night. So we're gonna do a pre-recorded video. We're gonna put it in, pump it into the video as well.
So you guys can see what it looks like day and night.
Yeah, if it looks like day and night, almost so you guys can have a sort of idea of how that looks. Then. So absolutely, the exclusive had to bring attention to the lights to light up, to really give it that sort of pop, all that PU covering inside. Absolutely.
Well, I can see it like from the reflection on the window.
Oh, it looks really good.
It's dark. Right now it's dark outside, but
when you look at it against a black backdrop and thing, it looks really, really awesome. It looks really, really awesome. So absolutely, that's where we wanted to.
Show the back. Let's show more on the front.
Well, in the video, it's probably covering it anyways. but
yeah.
But absolutely, this is something that we bring it back under here. So we'll probably bring it back in here. Give it a nice full rotation. It looks really, really nice. And when you do see it in the pitch black and you just turn it on for the first time, boom. Okay. Hopefully you guys like what you've seen, you like the exclusive, and you agree that it is adding that little bit of pop. Now, it's time to consider that you've seen this, you like what you've seen, and you think, hey, this is going to be something that you want to do. You've got the Skull Kid, or you want the Skull Kid, or you like Majora's Mask, you're a fan of this sort of stuff, and you think, hey, I want to actually buy this product. But I'd like to know the dimensions, the weight, the height, and all that sort of stuff. So, without further ado, shall we go and do the sizes? Yeah?
The can test or the measurement first?
Oh, right, the can test. Absolutely, yeah.
Easiest way to...
Hopefully these spikes are gonna pop. Oh, hold on, just below that.
Is that right?
Yep.
Alright. Guys, these are the 330mm size.
330mm size, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
One more. 5.5.
5.5.
It's right off the screen. Look at that. There you go, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And a half. At the tip of the spikes.
And a half. Absolutely. These are 330, so they're different from our American family, who I think they do 355. These are 330mm cans. So take that in consideration, and then we're going to give you some other measurements now.
Yep.
Okay. So we have
the height.
The height. Okay, sure.
So I've already done the measurements beforehand, but it'd be nice to show them guys.
Yeah.
So I'm measuring from the actual bottom of the base to
Yeah.
the very top of the
to the top horn.
to the horn. So I've got this roughly just under 25 inches. So it's around about 63 centimeters.
Cool.
Yeah. 62, a little bit, 63 centimeters. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the width from this point
Yeah,
to
absolutely,
this point, yeah,
absolutely.
because this is the widest point.
Absolutely.
I had it for about 23 inches, which is around 58 centimeters.
Yep.
Yep.
Seems about right.
And then the depth, obviously, from this, because this one's furthest out to the back,
Yeah.
which I've got it around about 13 inches, which is 33 centimeters. Yep.
Yep.
And a lot of people have been asking about the weight. Thank you to Jeremy for the scales.
Absolutely.
Lovely
Shout out.
present. Guys, we all actually posted this in the club as well, but we had that about just a little bit over 8 kg. Is that right?
We're not going to do it real time because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we need to work that out in what, pounds, what? 8
Yeah.
kg. Yeah. So
Times by 2.21.
which is. But sure. Okay. So that's all the spec.
That is all the specs. So if you just sort of, again, one more time, just look at how it will look with your collection. So these are the only ones that are available. So we'll just put those. So yeah, exactly.
The whole thing.
You might as well not put that because
It's the same. Yeah.
they can't. That's not available. But absolutely, hey, this is supposed to be the centerpiece. I have the skulker looking into the camera. Look at that. There you go, guys. Hopefully, you like what you saw. It was an absolute blast working on it. It was just fantastic to be able to finally be able to show you guys. It's a labor of love, as with all of us, out of all of our projects, and hopefully you can see the passion that we put into it, and have a better understanding of the reasoning and why we do certain things in terms of the design, why we decided to do it this way, why the horns are removable, why do we not have a wooden texture on the mask, all that sort of stuff, to enable you to better understand the reasoning behind it. Hopefully you guys find that interesting, and if you did so, please do let us know in the comments. Please do remember to check the club, to check our Facebook page, go to our website for more items in our Zelda line, for more future lines of different props from different games.
And not just the Collectors Club as well. Make sure you sign up to our newsletters. Come check out our new website. Sign in every day for 4 extra points. There's going to be loads more reward points. Also, if you like this video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Spread the word.
Absolutely.
Because there'll be more to come.
Anything you like to add, Chocks?
I think that's it really. Collectors Club, YouTube, the whole.
Anything else with regards to this?
Well.
No, I think that's
it,
bang
really.
on.
Yeah.
Right, nice one.
Yeah, all right, cool. Sweet.
I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Chuckles.
Peace.
Laters.